everybody. In today's video we're going to do a scroll review animation using vanilla JavaScript and a bit of CSS. So let's start by creating an index HTML page and the styles.css. Alright, so inside the index page I'm going to name this page John Doe. I don't have a name to give it. Alright, so now we need to link the CSS file in here, style.css, and save. And we also need a JavaScript file, so it's going to be app.js. We also need to link it down here in the body, script, and then source. Source is goes to app.js, like so. Alright, so let's start by doing the overall markup for the page. We have header dot header. This is not a spelling for header. Oops. Header. Inside the header we have navigation, so it's going to be nav dot navigation, and then we have nav items. Inside the nav items we have nav item. It's not supposed to be UL, it's supposed to be LI, a list. LI, not L. And then inside we have an anchor tag, hash, and then it's going to be portfolio. Copy twice, and then here it's going to be about, and then contact. Yep. And also above the nav items we need a logo. It's going to be, actually it's going to be an h1, not a div. h1 in here is going to be John Doe. Alright, so now let's do the styling for the header. So select the header, go inside the style CSS. Before we start styling the header, let's run the page first to see if it's if it's working. Actually, we need to resize this like this. I'll get rid of the terminal, we don't need it. And then I'm going to open this with live server. Alright, there it is. I want to be able to switch between VS Code and Google Chrome, so this trick is much helpful, so we can switch back and forth. Alright, so now let's start by resetting the browser. So we're going to give it a margin of 0, a padding of 0 as well, padding of 0, box sizing, border box, list style, none, text decoration, none, and a default font size of I think 1.2 rem. 1.2 rem, actually 1 rem. Alright, so now let's start by doing the header. So for the header, we're going to have a display of flex inside the header. Display flex, justify content, space between, and we're going to give it a padding, top and bottom 0, left and right 10 rem. Alright, and then now we need to select the nav items. Oops, I'll remove this app.js. Actually we need to align item center. Align items center. Display flex, justify content. We don't need a justify content, we need align items. I can't spell align item center. Okay, let's save, let's see. All right. Nav items. Oh, this is supposed to be navigation, not nav items. But we also need the flex as well in nav items as well. So navigation. Header. This is supposed to be navigation. Navigation. That's where it's supposed to be. Remove this here. Alright. Navigation. So inside the navigation we're going to have a min height of 10 VH. 10 VH min height. Yeah, like so. So now let's go inside the body and give it a default font family. I'm not gonna waste my energy and download the font family. I'm just going to use sans serif for now. Okay. Right, now nav items, nav item, nav item, the anchor tag, I want to give it a color of #33. Oops, #33. And I'm going to reduce the opacity a little bit, and also a padding of 0.4 rem and 0 left and right, actually 2 left and right. And then the nav item is going to have a margin. Top and bottom is going to be 0 left and right, 3 rem. Okay, let's see what we got. Okay, so let's do the logo. So for the logo, font size is going to be around 2.5 rem, and the color is going to be this one. But oops, yeah, I think this looks fine. I think we are done with the navigation for now. Okay, now let's work on the main section. Inside the main, we're going to have content, and then in here, inside the content, we're going to have an H2. It's going to be title. Oops. H2 title. In here, we're going to do lorem. No, let's do lorem 10. I think that's fine. And then after the title, we're going to have a gallery section. Gallery. Inside the gallery, we're going to have an image. So dot image, and then image 1. So we want about 4 images actually. 4 images. So multiply by 4 images, and then inside here I'm going to add an image. So this goes to img gallery1.jpg. Okay, I'll copy this image, paste it down here, paste it down here. Oops, paste it down here. Actually, we need to add some classes down here. Actually, we'll do that later. We'll do that later when we get to that stage. Now let's just change the image names. Gallery 2, this is 3, and this is 4. All right. So this gallery, we need to. Yeah, I think that's it for the gallery. Now below the gallery, we need a paragraph. P.para for paragraph. Lorem 30. Okay. So now after the paragraph we need an anchor tag dot ptn, and then it's going to be view portfolio. Alright, I think that's it for now for the markup. Now we need to do the styling. Alright, so this is what we have. Okay, let's start with the title. Actually, let's start with the main. It's going to have a padding of 10 RAM. 10 RAM around it. Yep. And then we do the title. So the title is going to have a font size of 2 RAM, and color #33. Reduce the opacity a little bit. Yep, I think that looks fine. I think we need to increase the font size a little bit. Let's see, 3 RAM. Yeah, I think 3 RAM is fine. Actually, or 2.5. And then we need to give it a width of 50%. 50%. And a padding bottom. Actually, a padding around everything. Padding. Top and bottom is going to be 3 RAM. Left and right is going to be 0. Alright. I'll give it a little bit of letter spacing. 1 pixel. I think that looks fine. Yeah, 1 pixel is fine. Now we need to do the grid for the images. So now let's select the gallery. For the gallery, it's going to have a width of 100%, and a mean height, actually height, not mean height of 120 VH, and display grid. So we want the images to be in a grid. Alright, so we want a grid with 8 by 8, 8 rows and 8 columns. So grid template columns is going to be 8 with equal size. So repeat, 8 columns and equal size, which is 1 FR. So 8 columns with equal size, and then we need to do the same for the rows as well. So rows 8 by 8, so it's 8 by 8. Alright, now let's save. Let's see. Alright, now we have a grid, but it's a little bit messed up. We need to style it. So this is the grid. So these images are very huge, so we need to resize these images so we'll be able to see our grid properly. Alright, so now let's start by selecting the image. Image is going to have a height of 100% and a width of 100%. Width 100%. Alright, so inside the image, no, not inside, I mean next to the image, we have and actually inside the image we have the image. Oh, I forgot I'm not using SAS. So we have the image, and then we're going to do height 100% and width 100%, and then object fit, so our images doesn't stretch, so it's going to be cover, and save. And voila, we have our grid now. It's so this is our grid. So 8 by 8, as you can see, it's 8 by 8, 8 rows, 8 columns. So now let's start styling these images to make them span grid items. Alright, so the first image, so it's image 1, which is the first image. Image 1. I want the grid column to span. I wanted to span 4 on the column, so it's going to be to span 4. So if we go to the grid, and you see it's spanning 4 grid items. And then for the grid row, we want it to span 3. Okay, as you can see now, spanning 3 for the grid row. Alright, now let's go to image 2. So image 2, we want it to span 4 for the column, and then we want to span 5 for the row. It's 5. Oops, it's image 2. And then let's go to image 3. We want it to span 4 and then span 3, I guess, and then 4, image 4, we want it to span 5. I'm pretty sure I've messed up something. Yeah, I know, I knew I've messed up something. Okay, so for the image 3, let's see, image 3, so image 3 is supposed to span 5. Image 3 is supposed to span 5 here. Alright, now we have our grid. Now let's give it a grid gap. Grid apps, grid left, not grid row, grid gap of 2 rem. I think that works fine. Something's messed up here. Let's see. Let's see what's going on. Image 4 grid. This is the grid. Let's see why it's overlapping. Image 4. What's going on with image 4? Span 4 row. I think it's supposed to span 3. Yep, it's supposed to be 3, not 4. All right. Now we have a grid. Now let's do this paragraph here. It's para font size 1.2, oops, 1.2 rem, and we want to give it a color as well. It's going to be this light color, but we want to make it a little bit more lighter, so I'll reduce the opacity, and also a width of 50%. Yeah, let's see. Yep. All right. We also need to give it line height of 1.8 rem, letter spacing 1 pixel, and a padding 2 rem top and bottom, and then 0 left and right. Okay, I think this looks fine. Now let's do the anchor tag .ptn. Font size, it's going to be 1.2 rem. I want the color to be this color, but slightly darker. All right, and a border bottom 1 pixel, solid height 333. All right, yep, I think that's it. Now let's do one more thing. We need to copy this content twice, so 1, 2. All right, So in here I'm going to change the image names, so it's going to be image 5, 6, 7, 8, and then down here it's going to be 9, 10, actually this is 12, and then 11. You can do 10 here, whatever you like. 10, oops, 10. Alright, let's see. Okay, we have more content now. Something's wrong with the images. Let's see what's going on. Which one is it? The second one. The second one. Gallery 5, 6. This is image 3, 6, 7, then 8. Let's see. Alright, yeah, everything loading fine. Now let's start doing the JavaScript. Alright, so inside the app.js, now I'm going to select all of the images that we have. So it's going to be document.query selector all. Oops. Query selector all, and then in here I'm going to select the image. So it's all of the images. So also I need to select the nav. It's going to be document.query selector. Query selector is going to be the header. What else? We also need to select the title. Const title. This goes to, I'll just copy and paste this. I'll just rename it to title. Alright, so down here, so we need to use intersection observer to animate elements if they come to view or if they leave the view. So to be able to use intersection observer, we need to create a variable. Const is going to be, you can name it whatever you want. I'll name it observer, which is equals to new intersection observer. So this intersection observer, it takes two parameters. The first one is a callback function, and the second one is an object with properties of what we want to do. So the callback function, you can do it in here with arrow functions, or you can create a separate function and call it here. So that is what we're going to do. We're going to create a separate function up here. It's going to be sticky nav, which is equals to an arrow function. It takes in 2 arguments as well in here. Entities, you can name this whatever you like. Entity, I can't even spell entities. And actually, not entities, entries, you can call it whatever you like. And then in here, observer. Yep, actually we don't need it for now. I'll explain to you what these parameters do. Now down here, when you create an object, it's going to be nav options. Alright, and then the root is going to be now This is the viewport. If it's now, it means the whole viewport. And then we're going to have a threshold. It's point. Actually, I'll leave it on 0. So what this means is, for example, if I put this threshold on 40%, 0.4, it means that if an element that we're observing comes to the view 40%, we need to do something. Maybe we hide the element or we show the element if it comes in view 40%. So that's what this value means. So you can increase it to 50%, 70%, whatever you like. But for this one, I'm going to put on 0 because we want to animate if the element left the viewport. That's when we want something to happen. So I'll leave it on 0. Alright, so inside here, I'm going to call the callback function. It's supposed to be sticky nav. The callback function is sticky nav. And then in here, we need to pass in the nav options. Alright, so these entries, it's just this threshold, the entries. So you can have multiple entries in here. You can have 0, 0.4, 0.6, whatever you like. So we can loop through these entries. But for now, we only have 0, 1 entry. So we're going to use destructuring to get this entry, which is 0. So it's going to be entry, and then entry is coming from entries, so it's destructuring. We're getting just this value. All right, so if we had, for example, if we had two values in here, like for example, let's say 0, 0.4, 0.5, I mean, I can select these entries, like the second entry here, or the first entry, by selecting entries and then 0. But now we have only one value, so we don't need to do that. So now let's console log this entry. Let's see what we have. Console log entry. You can name actually this. You can name it whatever you want. You can name it thresholds, whatever you like. So now let's check it out. Oh, I forgot to do something down here. Below the observer, we need to do observer. Observer dot observe. So what are we trying to observe? So it's going to be the title. That's what we're observing. The title. So we're observing the title. So all right, let's see. So the title is intersecting. It's in the view. Let's see if we go outside the view. All right, now it's false. It's not intersecting anymore. It's outside the view. That's when we want to add a class. When it's outside the view. When it's back, we remove. Goes like that, like sort of toggling the class based on the view of this title. If it's outside, we want to toggle the class. All right. So in here, we're going to do if entry dot is not intersecting. If the entry is not intersecting, that's when we want to add a class. So if you look at this, if we go to the if it's not it's intersecting right here, it's false, it's not intersecting, that's when we want to add a sticky navbar down here, up here I mean. Then when it leaves, we remove the class. So if it is not intersecting, that means it's out of the viewport. The title is out of the viewport, and then that's when we want to add the class. So we want to add the class to the nav. Nav dot class list dot add sticky. Alright, so we've added a sticky class. Now let's see what happens. Oops. Now right click on inspect the navigation, scroll, sticky. Yep, it's adding sticky now. It's remove sticky. It's not removing, actually. We didn't do the else. So else, oops, else, and then we remove the sticky. Class list dot remove, and then we remove the sticky. So if I inspect, if I go up and down, it's removing the sticky and adding the sticky. So now let's style the sticky. Copy, go down here, I just put it down here, sticky, position, fixed, z index 10, and a width of 100%. Also we need to give it a box shadow, 0 pixels on the x-axis, 10 pixels on the y-axis, 14 pixels blur, and then RGBA black. So this RGBA is going to be actually RGBA, not RGB, 000 for black, and then we need to give it an alpha, which is going to be 0.1 or 10%, whatever you decide to call it. And then when I scroll down, it should stick the navbar to the top. Yeah, it's working, but we need to give it a background color. White. Alright, so now it's working as intended. It's adding and removing sticky class. Alright, so now let's do the animations for the images. So in here, I'm going to copy these options. It's going to be IMG options. Alright, I'm going to create a callback function. It's going to be IMG review, which is going to be entries again, and then in here we need the observer. We need this whole thing, observer. Okay, I'll explain to you in a bit. Oops. Alright, so in here we are going to loop over all of the images. So down here, this is going to be image observer, and then down here I'm going to select all of the images and then loop and get every single image. So for every single image, you want to observe every single image. So it's going to be in here, image observer dot observe image. Alright, so in here we're going to put image review for the callback function, and then IMG options. Yep. Alright, so the process inside the image review is the same. We need to destructure. Okay, let's console log entry. Let's see what we have. So for the image, we have a target. For the entries, we have a target for each entry, so which is the image, the div. Alright, So for example, if I do entry.target, prints out the target, which is the image, the first image. All right. Okay. So now what we need is if the image is intersecting, if entry dot is intersecting, we want to add a class. Actually, want to remove a class. So we want to remove a class entry.target on the target image. So entry.target class list dot remove. So we want to remove a class called hidden. We don't have this class yet, but we're going to add this class later. So we want to remove hidden, else we want to return. All right. So if it's intersecting, remove the hidden class. Okay. Now let's add this hidden class. Remember, we're looping all these images, so we need to add the hidden class starting from image 3. So we don't want to add the hidden class on the first 2 images, so we can just see what's going on. Hidden all right, now save. So now we've added the there's something wrong with this. I did something. The first image, yeah, it's supposed to be image 4. All right, so now we have the hidden class. So let's tab this. Let's tab this hidden class. So down here, the hidden class is going to have an what am I doing? The hidden class is going to have an opacity of 0. So now let's see what we have. It's not updating this time. What's going on? Hidden. Still not updating. I don't know why. Hidden. Oh, what did I do? I don't know how I added this code. Now save. Yep, the hidden class is applied now. We didn't add the hidden on everything. Hidden. All right. Let's see why the hidden is not working on some images. Oh, actually, I think our JavaScript is working already. That's why the images are appearing. Yeah. The images are appearing already. So let's go to the inspect. The JavaScript is removing the hidden already. So see, the hidden is applied on the images below, but once I scroll down, it's removing the hidden. Now the images are just showing. But now we need to give this transition on for 4.4 seconds, and then ease in, ease out. Oops. Oh, it's not transform, it's transition. We also need to give this transform rotate 40 degrees. We also want to scale it 0.4. We also want to translate it y-axis minus 20 pixels. Alright, copy this transition, paste it in image as well. Alright, let's refresh the page. Alright, okay, working as intended. Okay, alright, so now let's oops, down here let's console, let's see the entry, console, whoops, no const, console log entry. Alright, so if the images have already loaded like this, the event keeps firing. If we keep scrolling, it keeps firing, see? So this is very bad. So we need to find a way to remove the events after the images load, because if it keeps doing like this, some old computers with a very slow internet or a computer that doesn't have good processing power, the performance will be very poor. So we need to get rid of these events. Keeps firing as long as we're scrolling. So after the images loaded, we need to, that's why we need this observer here. That's why we need this observer here. So it's going to be entry dot target and then unobserve. Okay, so it's going to be actually it's observer dot unobserve, run observe. So we are unobserving something. Okay, so once the image is loaded, we don't want the event to keep firing, so it's going to be entry.target. Now let's see if it keeps firing. Alright, the images have loaded now. It's no longer firing like it was doing before. It's all good. Alright, see? It's no longer firing. Alright, I think that's it for this animation. I'll just do a footer and then we can leave this video. And then down here I'm going to do a footer, just a simple footer. This video is getting longer. P at 2021 logam ipsum, something like that. footer. I don't know. I'll select the footer. Down here I'm going to give it actually a width and a height. A height of 20 VH, width 100%, background color 3333. I don't know why it's not showing. There's the footer. Alright, so for this footer, actually I might give it a position of fixed so it stays on the same position. Position fixed. Yeah, you know what, I'll just leave it like that. 20 VH. So for this P, text align to center. There's a knock at my door. You know what, I'll actually, to make it easier, I'll do a display flex. Flex, because I want to center everything. Align items, center. We don't need to justify, yeah, we need to justify content center. Font size 1.4 M. You know, this doesn't make any sense, but I'm just trying to fill the website. It's just like a filler. Lorem, what am I doing? Letter spacing 1 pixel, and yeah, that's it. Yep, yeah, that's it for this video. I'll see you next time. I'll stop my recording now.